Alright, so we're going to be doing a PvP tier list for the JP side now. And of course, we are again on Pridewin because of the fact that I did help out with this tier list. And it's very cool that I was able to help out on a site like this, especially when they've got games that are so popular, like Nikkei and what is it? Nikkei, Star Rail, Reverse 1999, that people do use this site for, especially their tier list part. So being able to be part for this tier list is very cool, and I'm very happy and thankful towards Antelar, the owner of the site. Now on JP, dupes will be considered at 2, where on global they were at 0. Now we're going to say they're at 2 dupes, which is where you get the second passive. And for the most part, we will consider skill pages if they are basically going to bring them to the next level. Now, I'm going to be talking mainly about the new units like I do for most tier lists, but I will re-explain the whole tier list because of the fact we're starting with Pridewin now. And of course, this is my opinion, but of course, it's a pretty good opinion. I've been able to maintain top 500 PvP on the KR side when I actually do play. But of course, you got to consider I do a lot of showcases and you only have a certain amount of runs, so sometimes I will kind of goof off. But for the most part, I think my opinion is pretty valuable, so you do what you will with this information. You're able to get a pretty good insight on everything before half anniversary. And yeah, so I would do PvE, but I mean, I don't think it's that needed. If you want to check it out, you go and check it out. But I'm going to explain mainly PvP, mainly because PvP is, to me, what definitely counts. Because for PvE, it's more so just seeing the guides. And people don't really need to see the PvE side. But if you want, go to Pridewin and you'll be good to check it there. So this is all the S plus units. S plus units are basically the best at what they do, and they all have their kind of utility. If Fauna was counted at 0 dupes or without skill pages, I would say she would be S, but at 2 dupes with skill page 2, she is definitely an S plus unit, which is the main thing. So I do want to talk about the new unit, Fauna, first, and then we'll talk about which one when we get down to her part. But Fauna is very good because of how her hatred stacks work, in that you could either use ult right away or use it like once you get the 5 stacks. If you have the 5 stacks, it's going to essentially be a 390% AoE ult on everyone. So you're doing 390% on each single person, and the AoE damage is just too good. Now, what it does do, sadly, is dispel an ally barrier, but there has to be some kind of backlash, I understand. But even her skill 2 damage, this is, if we didn't even have this ult, this would be still the highest AoE ult in the game. Higher than Noelle's by 2%, I believe, but still, for this to be higher than Noelle's ultimate is just insane. Plus, it applies burn on everyone, which is very good for burn teams, and it applies the hatred stacks. So in general, you're able to get the hatred stacks if you have a Charlotte on your team in 3 turns, like 3 turns, and then you have the hatred on the 4th turn. You could use this ult at max damage, and that's really good. Plus, your combo is taunt, which honestly to me is very nice, especially when you consider that if she has her skill page, she has a 60% chance to AoE taunt. And because of her high speed of 109 at 0 or even 2 dupes, right, it's very good. Now, even further than that, she has stun block, which is just insane to have if the whole team is green. And then her dupe passive is if hatred stacks 5 times, you go to 1 HP, but you get immortality, and then you heal back up to 50%, which to me is a bit interesting, but I honestly kind of like it because you just can't die that turn, and then you heal back up, which is pretty good, especially because you'll be using Charlotte on her team, and her damage is just insane. Now, if it wasn't for either the taunt on AoE, because taunting is so good, right? You're stopping the barriers, and because her speed is higher than Radis's and Noelle's, you're going to be able to stop most of the barriers if you get the taunt off. And then, of course, her damage is insane. But if you don't really have all this stuff, then it's just not as good. Because to me, you need the extra util to get up into these ranks. Like, for Magna, for example, right? Magna is just really good. Magna is insanely good. And why is that? Well, he has stuns on at 2 dupes. Basically, you get a guaranteed stun if the enemy's taking a burn, and when you pair that alongside that, he applies a 2-turn burn at the beginning of the battle. It's insane. Plus, he gets up to 109 speed later on. But it's mainly this, right? So it's 165%, very high magic like attack stats. But I mean like skill like percentages, not attack stats, because his stats are kind of low. This should be about 2,000 higher, but to be fair, he still kills because of the fact that he removes barriers on this. So he removes barriers, does extra damage per burn, and then also grants an extra turn. So you're able to basically nullify or just completely deplete 3 people of a turn at least. You could kill 1 person here, then you stun this person, and if you use the combo, that's another person stunned, and it removes barriers. His barrier removal is very good, plus just how he works is insanely good. Getting the stuns is really nice, and even at 0 dupes, he's at 106 speed. So you can see the DPS's base speed is starting to increase like pretty quickly actually, because like the only person who's really had like decently high speed has been season 2 Noel and Julius, and since then we've only had really 103 DPSs besides Jack at 104. But Fauna's at 109 base speed, and this Magna is just insane. He could be used on a burn team. He doesn't even need to be on a burn team, and he could still basically stun 3 people or 2 people, but get 1 kill also. If you put him with Charlotte, he's gonna be insane. So yeah, this Magna is really good. And what's very interesting is if you have his skill page, it blocks HP recovery, which is very good even against blue teams, right? Because you're able to nullify Charmy's heals, part of it, right? So I do like that. Now Noelle, not really a need to talk about her, but amazing ult still. The barrier is annoying, and of course she has the counter, so it's just really good. Now Charlotte, oh my god, just look at this. Season 6 units, there's 3 in S+. 3. This is insane, man. Insane. So, Charlotte. Why do I like Charlotte so much? Well, let's talk about it. Her skill 2 is probably my favorite part, but then it's also her ultimate that goes even further beyond, right? So her skill 2 applies 2 SP but up to 3, which Antelar did not put, silly Antelar, but it goes to 3 SP. And then she also gives the person she's buffing with skill page, of course, the extra SP, debuff immunity and status down with immunity. So like you can't do anything to them, but like taunt them or absolute silence them, like whoever she chooses. And it's so good. Plus at max, like at max level, she gets a 100% chance to reduce her own skill 2 cooldown. So this thing could be spammed. And then this is even better because it gives an extra SP just to the person with the highest attack. And then her ult increases barrier duration, gives defense penetration, which is really good. And then also it gives reduced damage taken by 54%. Like, what is this, man? What even is this? Like, 54% damage reduction when the highest before has been like, what's it called? 32%, 31, I don't know, in the 30 range. So this is really good. And you could also stack it with Williams. Like, what? What? Like, where is it? For some reason, this and this stack. Because this is just Fortify, right? Where this is Fortify level 3. So it's 2 different wordings, which is silly. And then her combo is even really good because of the fact that it gives 100% of her HP as a barrier. This is like a 120k barrier usually. And then, of course, she gives, with the 2 dupes, she gives the person with the highest all attack a barrier of 50% of her HP every time it's her turn. And then if the whole team's green, she gives an 80% barrier. And usually she's rocking 100 to 120k HP. And then she has 124 base speed that, 120 base speed that goes up to 124. This Charlotte is insane, bro. This Charlotte is really good. Every one of her skills is great. Both of her passives are insane. This unit is just useful in every team comp. There's not one team comp she's not good in. So, to me, this is just a really good unit. So that makes 3 of the units. Oh wait, let me go back. Oh wait, yeah, I should have went here. So then, of course, Radis, amazing stun blocker, increases defense, could also taunt on his combo, which is starting to be much more useful. I found a lot of use in using combos recently, which is very nice. Then the blues, okay, so I'm going to have to explain this when I get down why I chose these 2 specifically. But Noelle's basically good in a lot of teams, and it's also the first turn that you can't really nuke anyone, right? It's very good because, of course, also she has a lot of base speed, but it's mainly this where it reduces damage by 40% on all attackers, which is very good. So that's why I mainly used her. But of course you could apply a 2-turn taunt, which is going to stop buffs for 2 turns. Could apply magic attack reduction, lower attack, remove buffs, lower SP. And then, of course, her skill page also lowers SP, which is very, very good. Then Julius, of course, is Julius. Insane damage, but he's up here not even just for his damage, but because of the fact that he has the stun, decreased stamina again here. The time stop ability is also very annoying because it increases the cooldown every single time. And yeah, bro, this guy's just insane. Plus, he has the res, which is very good, and his speed is higher than most. And then, of course, his ult could stack up to for every 15 speed, you get extra increased damage, but then you could get up to 50% more damage because of max 5 stacks on the ultimate every time a turn passes, which is just very good. So I'm very happy with this Julius, and yeah, no, he's just insane. So that's mainly it for S+. If we move down, the main things I'm going to be explaining now is why these 4 didn't get it, but Charlotte is just like, sometimes she could be good, obviously, especially if you have her max stooped, but She's also sometimes just kind of worthless. Like, the counters aren't the best. She doesn't reduce damage, and her skill 2 is the only thing that really is, like, for me, the thing that blows me away of her. But it's still very good and deserving of S. Now, Charmy could have easily been S+, but between Noelle and Charmy, I kind of thought Noelle was better because also of the fact that she's very good on that, where is it? This event skill page. On this team comp, if someone has this skill page, she is able to let it be used first turn, especially with Mars. If she's with Mars and Mars is paired up with one of the Charlottes or William, it's toxic because when there's a debuff, you guaranteed taunt, right? At max dupes. And Noelle applies a debuff when the battle begins. So you don't have to use someone for a debuff. You just turn one, you have it. So Mars combos, he could stun, he gets the guaranteed taunts, and then it's over, right? It's over. Like, you get taunted and then you might get stunned and it's over. So, you know, it's really good. That's why I put Noelle up here instead of Charmy. But Charmy's usability is good. But now there's starting to be a lot more heal blocks. Magnus skill page stops it. Noelle's skill page stops it. Fauna's does it. I don't think so. But Fauna also does kind of nullify Charmy a bit because she does a lot of damage. And Burn is starting to it's like starting to balance out with healing in where you're burning as much as you're healing, so the heals aren't doing that much, but she's still super strong, man. Super strong. Really strong S unit. Then Lotus, of course, could easily be S+, but I feel like sometimes he is easy to kill, and you're usually going to target him. And then Mars, I mean, he's just always going to be the most solid tank ever, but because of his low speed, it's not always the craziest, right? So that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Now, going on, of course, Charmy, very good still because of her pumpkin and just being able to apply so many burns. It's because of Magna that she's in here, and also because of Fuego. With Fuego being able to remove all barriers on his ultimate, it makes him a very strong person against a couple teams. And if we're counting only barrier teams, he's S+. But because there's teams that don't rely on barriers, he's still S because of the fact that you could get up to a 220% increased damage on everyone, which could be very, very good. Now, Finro, of course, his speed just brings him there. Same with Valtos. And then Mimosa, why she, I find, is really good, of course, is her res. And if you target her, that means you're not targeting someone else who's going to end up killing you. But if you target the other person, she's able to res. So that's why I find her very toxic. And she gives the increased defense on this. Plus, the increased buff duration is very good. So I just find this to be like the best PvP units in the game, in my opinion. You let me know if I'm wrong, but this is like the main ones you're going to be seeing on teams in general. Now, going a bit down, these are the A rank units, and let's talk a bit more about Witch Queen because obviously she is a new unit. And Witch Queen is okay at 2 dupes, but the only reason she's an A is because we're considering her at 2 dupes, and where she's going to be healing 10% of her max HP as HP recovery to all allies for each DOT on the enemy, and where this could heal a lot, but it could also not heal a lot. But in general, because of the fact for it's on each enemy, this, if you just use the ult, that should be 40% of her HP, which is basically a max heal for everyone, which is pretty nice because of the fact she's going to be, if you're getting her at 2 dupes, you're going to probably want to rock her around 100k HP, so that's going to be about like a 40%, like 40k heal, maybe even higher. So 40k heal, I mean, that's pretty much almost max for everyone. And then this gives lifesteal, but this, why I don't like it, is that it's only good for the DPS and no one else, because of course only the DPS will profit from lifesteal. And then also her skill 2. Damn, this is very high AoE scaling too, though. I just realized, if just she was a attacker, damn bro, that's very high. Okay, anyway, the skill 2, it being a chance to apply these 3 does suck, but if it was guaranteed, this would be very good. The reduced recovery received is pretty good. It's like 50% less, so that's good. Now, the skill 1 is the only thing that actually heals in her base kit, in that it gives 15% of her HP to the defender ally, and I don't like that her kit's based off defenders. Also, the combo, I guess, because of the fact that this unique passive is if everyone's red, she grants Crimson Blood, which is basically immortality buff when you fall under 30% HP to all defenders. So, like, you know, I don't know. It's just a bit silly. I just don't really like her. I don't think she's that good. I showed my showcase. Of course, she was at 0 dupes. Now, if she was at 2 dupes, she would be better. But I will do a max dupe showcase in Tower of Spire for her. Just you wait on that. Now, if we just look, Red Asta kind of fell off, but he's still pretty decent because of the fact that his damage is pretty good, and you could get 1 guaranteed kill with your ult, but blue team is still very prominent, so it's just not that good, especially taunts. So Charlotte, she could be S if just Mars didn't exist. Mars has debuff block, and if you could use the skill 2 and apply the reduced defense alongside the mark, which gives you the extra turns, she could be an S. But because Mars's debuff block could stop her reduced defense and basically make it so you can't really kill many people, she's an A, and she's a very solid A unit. Then same with Sally, very good buffer, still is able to buff most people, and will make Fauna just insanely stupid, and Magna too, because she's able to give crit damage to those who are the same typing as her in right here, and it's 35%, which is quite a lot. Then has some uses, but is overall not the craziest. But being able to total silence someone and taunt them is pretty good, plus getting the reduced stamina. And then on here, getting the AoE silence is pretty decent, honestly. Especially because... oh, wait, no, it's just normal silence, so it's not total silence, so it's only the skill 2. But still pretty good. And yeah, I think he's an okay unit. It's mainly his ult that you could find some uses in, but not the craziest amount of uses. Now, Guduri is only here because of his potential uses for invincibility, but it's not going to be the craziest. Jack, is going to be pretty decent because of his guaranteed stun, but I just don't find his extra miscalculated whatever attacks, additional attacks are that crazy. They don't do that much damage. I wish this was a 500% attack and magic attack and not increased damage, because like I explained, if you're doing 20k damage on it, that's only 100k, where if you're going to do 500% attack and magic attack, that's, you better believe that's going to be more than 100k, right? So I wish it was a guaranteed basically kill, and by putting attack and magic attack instead of increased damage, but oh well. It's a very interesting thing which I want to see on more people, is when you're attacked you grant self 20% increased stamina, which basically means turn 1 you're going first if you're attacked, which is pretty cool. I do like that. Now Langris does have some uses, but at 2 dupes he's not that crazy. At max dupes he's still okay, but like when you're comparing him to Fauna, he's just a much worse version of Fauna somehow. But yeah, that's basically it. His immortality is pretty good, but guess what? Fauna also has that at max dupe, so that's a bit silly. Now, his immortality is the only thing that's keeping him in here, and is pretty decent, like single target damage. I just don't think his ult damage is that good, but he's still like, he's okay. Now Fauna, she is pretty good, especially considering how many red DPSs there are for this, and because of like all the blue units she has that could support her, she's okay and still decently usable, especially just because of the fact that she has very good stats. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Then Ghost, pretty good supporter, single target supporter that has damage reduction, and now one of his uses into why he's staying there is because he has DOT immunity, and especially it makes it annoying when you're fighting burn teams, right? So that's good, especially because he's blue. Then Kohono, the only reason I mainly put her is because of the fact that she does have the all attack when you're getting the heals, and she increases defense with barriers, so she has some pretty good buffs. Kyaro's damage is insane. William has the damage reduction, and sadly, if you check all these attackers, they're all magic attack attackers. Not even kidding. Magic attack, magic, 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 magic. What's funnier, this is the only attack, these two are the only attackers, and William buffs, and Yami I guess, but William buffs attack and not magic attack, which is kind of sucks for him. If it was magic attack, this guy would be like S plus easily, bro, easily. But yeah, that's why he's kind of an A, and also because this damage reduction is just better. But William is still very good. Like, he's top of A, very close to S, but like he's not on this level of S, right? And then Yami still has his absolute silence, which makes him pretty good. Now we go down, and it's just starting to get sad. Like, Asta, he's just too slow for the taunts he applies. Leopold's damage is not the best, but he dies pretty easily. Yami has a guaranteed stun, and if we get more bleed units, it could be good. Fuego has pretty good damage, and now that burn's been increased, it's very good because of the fact there's other burn units to use with him. Never could do good single target debuffs. Raya's damage is good if you focus all on him, but there's just much better options than him to focus on, like Kyoto, who's an A, right? So yeah, Vetto could be decent sometimes because of his AoE taunts, but because he has 100 speed, it's just not worth it. And Yuno has immortality removal, so I feel like that's pretty good. But that's the main thing that I like about his kit, but he still has a pretty good ult. And yeah, if just this was magic attack reduction, then he would be a lot better in my eyes. And what I have to say for B, Rilla and Vanessa are also supposed to be there, so it's not really a big deal, but they're going to go up soon. Anyway, I'm going to talk about them as if they're in B tier, so please just consider that. Why? Well, Rill has a AoE stun with incapacitate and reduced defense, so he could be pretty toxic. And then Vanessa, she gives the healing, so she could heal basically when people take damage. She heals of their max HP. And then total defense basically makes it so you're taking much less damage. So it stops you from getting crit, first of all, and it makes it blocked damage and not crit damage or normal damage, so you're taking even less damage. And then this increases defense, so that's pretty good. And then, of course, you have the remove DOTs, which in this meta is honestly not bad to have. Vanessa does have her uses, which I think is why she's in B. Like, all of these units could have their uses, but it's just not at that, like, A level, right? And then B, Nozel has actually really good debuffs, especially after he was buffed. But yeah, that's basically it. Now we start getting into C, and it just gets like sad. Vettel just sucks. Vanessa is the worst SSR they've ever released because of the fact that it makes it so if you have a tank, you cannot target the tank for 2 turns. Like, the enemies can't target the tank for 2 turns. So yeah, because tanks always have the lowest speed. And then their ult is just silence, which is only skill 2 silence, but it's a 50% chance, so it kind of sucks. And then the other skills are very bad. So yeah, that's just unlucky. And then Jack, I mean, is Jack, and then the rest is the rest. I don't really have to get into the SRs, but this is the meta. Let me know what you guys think. If I covered PvE too, it would be a 40-minute video, and I don't feel like that. Maybe I'll make a separate video, but for now, this is what I'm doing. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and peace.